Hi, aloha. My name is Lynn Howard, and I am an international business consultant, coach, and speaker, as well as a digital nomad. I live on the road. I'm currently, by choice and by circumstance, in Bangkok. Not really too many international flights leaving, but I'm stuck happily. This week, I'm giving you a presentation on reflection and intention, two words that are extremely powerful in my life and hopefully yours. And my hope is by the end of this presentation, you have some different clarity and some different positioning in order to move forward. Before I get started in my presentation, I really want to say thank you. I'm so honored by the Vlads to allow me to be speaking today and to have their friendship, as well as be participating in tomorrow's People organization, which I truly believe in their vision, their mission, and what they're doing for the world. So thank you very much. Before we do dive in, I am going to ask that you have some spare or scratch paper laying around, because I'm definitely an experiential learner, so I am going to be having you write stuff down, and you will need a separate piece of paper that you don't mind getting rid of as well. So you ready? So let's get started. I'm going to start with a quote by Steve Jobs, who I think is a brilliant man, or was a brilliant man. Again, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So if you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future, you have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down, and it has made all the difference in the world. I believe that this is somewhat intention, right? That trust in destiny, that trust in life, that trust in karma or whatever. If you have more intention, you are actually able to steer your life and the choices and the ripple effects forward with a purpose versus just haphazardly going through life and allowing life by circumstance. I also love this because even though I'm a big manifester and I believe in seeing myself in a position or a future moment or whatever that is and making it happen, putting forth the action and reverse engineering. So my right brain, my left brain, I definitely manifest, but also I'm going to reverse engineer all the steps that I have to do. But it is important for us to understand that to really get the full effect of all the dots of everything has led up to this moment, it's important for us to reflect and see where we came from. And when we can get down to the roots of where we came from, or the pattern, or just that starting point, it's a beautiful moment because it gives us the ability to take more responsibility of our lives, of our choices. And I'm definitely a person who doesn't believe in regret. Every single moment, and I've lived a pretty crazy life, and some I probably wouldn't do over, but at the same time I would, because it's brought me to who I am today, and it's agreement that I made when I came into this life. So get out your piece of paper, because now we're going to start with connecting your own dots. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think of, okay, where you're at today. What are some of the big moments, if you're connecting the dots going backward, what are some of those moments that led you today that were really important, that you would love to do again? Maybe not the same situation, but amplify that and recreate it. So write these down. Take a moment and write some of these down. Connecting the dots, going backward. What are some big moments and even little moments that has brought you to today? Was it an intention that you set many years ago? Was this a part of, just a brand new experience of you wanting to dig more into your spirituality and your psychology? Take a moment and just think. And if you're in business, it could be big deals. Like if it's hard for you to think big picture and right, what brought you to this moment, maybe think of like, a job or just one moment in your life, and look at the backward ripple effect. So connect the dots moving backwards as far back as you can. Like, where did that kind of start and manifest? Keep writing it down. Connect those dots. It's important for us to really, I think that that's why history is important, although don't get me started. I know history is man's version, one man's version, or maybe a group of men or women's version. But we can actually reflect and connect the dots moving backward in our own history. And why this is super important is because it helps give us a base of how to move forward with more intention, how to understand our cause and effect, right? Our own ripple effects, to really learn what we like and to actually have more intention moving forward because we're aware of the steps that we took prior. I practice presence. I'm a big person who believes in trying to really be present and practice presence in the moment. But when I'm looking at making a big move or looking at life in general, or changing a position or doing something, I really take moments to reflect, to meditate on, what has brought me to this time, what has brought me to this decision, and how do I really want to move forward, and how can I do that with more intention? But I have to reflect first. All right, so you guys almost done connecting the dots moving forward. So that's a piece of paper I want you to keep. So now I want you to think of all the things moving backward that maybe you want to let go of. It doesn't mean that you regret it, but maybe you want to let go of it. Maybe it's a bitter feeling that you have. Maybe it's a memory of something that you want to change the storyline a little bit. Maybe it's a bad communication between you and a friend or partner, and you just want to let go of that energy. So on that other piece of paper, I want you to start writing down things that you would love to get rid of, to just clear out of your energy field, out of your body, out of your mind. Just clear it out. I'm going to give you a short story while you're doing that. About 19 years ago, I was diagnosed with melanoma. And it was earth-shattering. I can still remember the moment that I got the call, but that's a whole other presentation. And I decided early on, I was married at the time, and we actually decided together that I was going to heal on my own terms. That I wasn't going to go through chemo, that I was really going to take responsibility for where this was created, how this was manifested, and to just move forward from it, whatever that meant. Okay? Now, I'm definitely one who loves to plow through things, but I took my time and I dug so deep in my soul and realized there were things that I thought I had healed. There were things that I thought I let go of. There were things and energy that was still holding on to me that created that melanoma. So I dug deep and I wrote and wrote and wrote a list of things that I needed to let go of, things that I needed to heal from, things that people, most importantly, and this is the title of the other presentation, people that I had to forgive. The most important was myself. And once I did that, it was so freeing. And I believe it was the key thing that helped me heal without going through chemo or radiation. So what are some things, and hopefully yours isn't as severe as cancer, but what are some things, write that down on a scratch piece of paper. What are all those things that you just want to take that energy back from? Let go of it. Just get it out of your system. Business, personal, spiritual, with your friends, with your family. Man, if you're anything like me, you got a lot of family history, a lot of family karma. So write all of that down. I'm going to give you another 30 seconds or so. Just keep writing, close those eyes, and just envision you're writing it out on paper just to let go of that energy. Dig deep. All right. Before you do something with that paper, we're going to talk about reasons versus excuses. How many of you know the difference? What's the difference between a reason and an excuse? So I love this. I took this picture while I was in Bali, actually, this lotus. And I love lotus flowers and what they mean. They have to fight their way through mud and muck to become this beautiful blossom. Now, they could use the excuse that they're too tired, they're too weak, they're too delicate, the mud is too thick to get through in order to blossom, so they can just stay underneath the soil and be the lotus fruit, which is still delicious, by the way, when you eat it in food. But instead, they push through, they persevere, and they come out the other side. And a reason that they're so beautiful and that they're so coveted is that they make that journey through the mud, right? So I want you to ask yourself, where have you been making excuses where you're not necessarily taking the responsibility? Where are you making excuses in your life versus having a reason? It could be just the simple switch of perception, outlook, right? I could be really upset and have all the excuses in the world about why I can't work because I'm stuck in Bangkok and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But instead, there might be a reason why I have to have phone calls at early in the morning in Hawaii or late at night in California. The reason is because I'm in a different time zone. I'm not using that as an excuse to not have appointments, to not move forward, to not do things. So where are you making excuses? And versus it could be a reason. There's a different energy to them. One is taking responsibility and looking for solutions. That's the reason. Looking at options. Excuses is kind of like you're giving up and not taking the responsibility yourself. So write down those excuses that you have often told yourself that you want to get rid of. Give you another second. All right. So now, before we finish with that paper, I want you to think of fault versus responsibility. Remember when I was saying earlier about the finger pointing outward and the three fingers pointing back at me? I'm a big person for looking at what my responsibility is versus putting fault on somebody else. Fault is just external. It's not, you play, fault is more of a victim standpoint, right? It's somebody else's fault versus taking responsibility. And I can tell you, for those of you who've done deep work, taking responsibility for things that your part in the play, if you would, is profound work. On your paper, I want you to think of things that you have blamed somebody else, that it's their fault, that you can take that energy back from. And I'm going to give you a quick story around this. I remember I said I'm a self-digger. And one of the things, I came from a very broken home growing up with alcoholic and drug users as parents, and actually all the aunties and uncles around me. Very abusive. And add that I was adopted and a few other things. Anyway, it was just not a good circumstance, not a good home. And I could have placed fault on my parents for being broken, for not raising me differently, for this, for that. I could have stayed in victim mode, but instead I took responsibility for my own actions, for my own choices. I said, you know what? Yeah, they did the best that they could do with the tools that they had. And it doesn't mean that I forget what I went through as a child and as a young adult, but I took responsibility, especially when I had the ability to. You know, as a 5-year-old, I didn't understand responsibility except for if I, took the strawberries from my sister's plate, that I got in trouble because I have to take responsibility for stealing the strawberries, right? But as an adult, I can take responsibility for my own actions. So I did the work and I learned to take responsibility even for the part of the abuse. And I'm not saying that I brought it on myself. I'm saying that I took responsibility for my outlook, for the way that I allowed that to ripple effect in my life, right? Everything was set up against me to have me become a life of circumstance, a life by just the people around me and what they thought of me. Instead, I took responsibility for myself and my life and made it what it is today. So where are you placing fault that you can take responsibility? And I know this is hard, and it is a process. And if you want to learn more, have someone guide you through it, let me know. I'll have all my contact information on the back page. So write down, okay, get that paper ready, all that fault, all those excuses, all those things that you don't want to recreate, all those things that you don't want to, that you want to let go of, those feelings, that energy, all that stuff that's just holding you back and weighing you down and negative. You ready? Now, I want you to let it go. I want you to take that piece of paper and I want you to say a little prayer first, look at it, and tell it all goodbye. Let it go. And then I want you to rip it up, crumble it up, and I want you to throw it away. Now, if you're a big believer, I would burn it if I was at home and I was doing this process. So if you have the ability to actually throw that into, a little pot to burn or in your grill or whatever, it's very powerful, especially on a full moon, most full moons. But please do it now. Don't allow that, all the energy to sit on that paper. Rip it up, crumble it up, say goodbye to it, have a prayer, have a moment with it, and just let it go. It does not serve you to hold on to that. It does not serve you to sit in your body. The excuse making, the fault doing, the holding on to the negative stuff, the negative energies, that is not serving anyone. Let it go. Close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. Cleanse your soul. Let all of that energy go as you rip up that paper and throw it away. Do not have it on your desk. Do not have it in front of you. Put it in the rubbish can. Put it across the room so that way you can burn it. If you can pause this right now, I don't know if you have that ability, pause it and go burn that stuff. Let it go. Get rid of it. And now open your eyes and take a deep breath. And now you should have a clean slate where you can create clear intentions, letting go of all of the past patterns and the negativity and the things that are at the top of your mind right now that you were able to write down. Take a breath. Do you feel lighter? You should. You should be starting with a clean slate now. Now, what do you want to do? Now that you have a clean slate, let's create some intention. I love Wayne Dyer. Our intention creates our reality, right? Where energy goes, energy flows type of thing. So I want you to think of, if you can think of one word for your intention, let's make it short term, for the rest of 2020. What is the intention that you want to get out of the rest of 2020? Now I understand things are chaos. We're in crisis mode. Crisis mode automatically puts us into scarcity and puts us into automatic kind of survival mechanisms, and it can be very negative, but we got rid of all of that. So now we have the clean slate and we're creating an intention for the rest of 2020. What is that one word on that piece of paper? I want you to write it big. And if you have a couple of words right now, that's okay. Write that down. What's your intention? Where do you want, at the end of 2020, where do you want to be? How do you want to feel? What do you want it to look like? What's the intention? Right? Believe it with your implicit and your explicit beliefs. How can you really believe that intention to your core? Because after you believe that intention to your core, I want you to share it with people. I want you to message me or post it on your Facebook or your LinkedIn or your Instagram. Like, what is your intention for the rest of the year? Share it with people that are closest to you. The more that you share it, the more you speak it, the more you believe it, the more reality it becomes. You have to live it. I'm a big person too. If you can write that word down or that phrase down, if you can make it into a beautiful phrase, put it on your mirror so you see it every single day. What is your intention for the rest of 2020? And by the way, you can create intention for a project, for a moment in time, for a relationship, right? So this can be something that you can do, like clean the slate, clear all the energy out, and create an intention, an individualized intention for one particular project, a person, a thing, a year. So what's your intention? And now, action. I'm a big action person, I told you before. So if your intention is to inspire yourself and others, how many people do you want to inspire? What are some ways that you can do that till the end of 2020? Right? So Nate, I want you to write down 3 actions that you can take to make that intention happen. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. I want you to write down 3 actions that you can take to make that intention happen by the end of 2020. What are your 3 actions that you can take? And for those of you that are quick writers, like myself, do those actions involve anybody? If so, write their names down next to it. And if you're an overachiever, which some can call me that sometimes, put a date by that. Write down more actions if you have more actions in your mind. But I want you to at least write 3 actions that you feel comfortable with, that you're going to do to make that intention come to truth. What are your 3 actions? Who can help you with them? What's your time limit on it? How much time do you need in order to do those actions? Do you need any other tools? These are all great things to create that action. All right. So now I'm going to ask you, now that your slates are clean, you've let go of some of that energy, you have an intention for the rest of 2020, and you have a couple of action items attached to that intention. What I love to say, now that all the stars of the planets are aligned, what's going to stop you? How are you going to move forward? Where do you need help? Where do you need more connection? Because you got this. You can do that. You can make that intention happen. But you have to choose, you have to put forth the action, and you have to call upon others if others are needed to help you. But you're the one who does it. And now you're all in alignment. So what are you going to do? What is the potential that lies within you for those intentions that you have set? I believe in you. I know that you can do it. So here's my contact information, like I said. I definitely want to hear from you. Please message me. Let me know what your intention is. Let me know what your takeaways were from this presentation, if you had any. What is one thing that you're going to do? I love interaction, and as a recorded video, there's not much interaction. So I would love to hear from you, love to hear how you are cleaning your slate and moving forth with more purpose, with more intention, with more direction, and really a more fulfilling life. Because when we have true intention, and when we're living and taking actions within that intention, within that purpose, our lives become more fulfilled. We become more attached and connected to it as well. We exude that around the others that are around us, and they see us living a life more of purpose and more of choice. So please let me know. This was an honor to be able to present to you all. I'm wishing you all health and happiness, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Aloha.